My name is Andrew Stotz of A. Stotz Investment Research, and I'm talking about how to become financially world-class using world-class benchmarking. This is part 5. Remember that world-class benchmarking is simple, focused, and team building. It helps you balance the competing forces or pressures of profitability and growth. Its focus on profitable growth increases the value of your business. It is challenging. To be world-class, you must beat global peers. Finally, the world-class benchmarking triangle is easy to understand and apply. Now let's look at this final point. Get ready to understand this. So remember that finance is complicated, scattered, and individual, and we want to make it simple and focused and team. How to read the world-class benchmarking scorecard? Well, now you understand the measure of profitable growth and how and why we compare a company against its global peers. Next, you're going to learn to read the world-class benchmarking scorecard. This is the triangle that you're going to learn about. Now, everyone in the company can understand a 1 to 10 rank, right? Yes. 1 is best, number 1, and 10 is worst. Let's talk about the top of the triangle, which is profitable growth. That is the measure that matters. Strong profit growth with minimum asset use is what we're really talking about. The less assets we have to put into the business, but yet still get the same amount of growth, the better. Profitable growth drives truly sustainable, long-run value. There's a never-ending competition, as we know, between high profitability and high growth. Of course, a company that generates more profits from its assets can internally finance its growth. If you're not doing that, you're under a cash flow squeeze all the time. Of course, the assets could be physical, human, software, etc. So, green is a stoplight that means go. And in world-class benchmarking, green means best. To avoid any confusion, green is positive, and we make number 1 and number 2 green. Actually, you could say if you're number 1, you're world-class. If you're number 2, you're pretty darn good. And red is negative. If you're a 9 or a 10, doesn't look very good. Now, we rank a company from 1, which is best, to 10, which is worst. And this is showing 1 year. In this example, I'm showing the year 2012 profitable growth score. And what we can see is best would be 1 and worst would be 10. And the subject company is ranked a 9, so pretty bad. The company is grouped into deciles based on financial performance. All of the companies that are in that sector and of that size are grouped. Now we look at 5 periods and we update that quarterly. So you'll see PTM means the prior 12 months. So again, best to worst. Now we can see that this company was ranked in the 9th decile in 2015 and then went to the 5th decile in the past 12 months. So this company has gone from 9, terrible, 1, great, 10, worst, 9, worst, and now 5, average. So now that we understand the profitable growth score, what you can see is I'm going to take that score and just move it up to the triangle. Same 9, 1, 10, 9, 5. That's the performance over time. And right there you can see there's a lot of red. This company doesn't look very successful. All right, time for a test. You ready? Okay. This company, is this a good or a bad company? Tick tock, tick tock. This company is named Pandora, a global company and one of the most profitable in the world. It's world class because all of its rankings are 1. All right, next one. This is the one we just looked at. Is this a good or a bad company? Well, it's average right now. It's at a 5. 5 would be average. What's this company? Amazon. Hey, I thought that was a great company. Why is it 9 and 10? Good question. We'll look at that in a second. How about this one? Is this a good or a bad company? Well, it's world class. And this is my mobile phone provider, Advance. All right. And the last one. What about this? Is this a good or a bad company? You got it right. It's a bad company. In fact, it's been really pretty bad for a long time, but recently it's gone, in the past 12 months, it's gone to a 9. So it's a bad company. All right. So what have you learned in this section? The top of the triangle is the measure that matters. It's profitable growth, or what I call strongest, fastest. We rank the companies from 1 best to 10 worst, and we track the company for 5 years, which you saw 5 years and that prior 12 months. A company should strive for strong profit growth and minimum asset use. That's the best case. Let's talk about the middle of the triangle. You can see profitability and EPS growth. So profitable growth comes from a combination of the company's score on profitability and growth. So these two factors explain profitable growth above. So let's review the first driver of profitable growth, and that is profitability. Strong profitability means generating more profit from the assets in place. This is profit divided by assets. So if you think about a company like a factory, a company may sell 100 in revenue and have 90 in cost, therefore it has profit of 10. That profit then divided by the assets of how much did it cost to set up that business. We call that return on assets. You don't need to know about it in that much detail, but this is enough to understand that getting more out of assets relative to peers means a company is more efficiently run and over time should be better able to internally finance its growth. Now, I just said you don't need to know that much about it. Well, truthfully, some people will want to learn more and more about it. But let me say, I've watched cricket matches and I can't understand at all what they're doing, but I can tell the score. Or I had a friend of mine that would go to an American football game and she would say, I don't understand exactly what's going on, but I know who's winning. Yeah, that's critical. All right. So beware, very high profitability can dramatically slow growth. Now let's talk about EPS, the second driver of profitable growth. So when I'm talking about profitability versus growth, I'm talking about earnings per share. This is profit growth. So earnings per share growth, the market values it and so should you. We've already shown that growth is the measure. When you have only profitability and growth, growth is what the market will put a higher price tag on. This is the annual percent change in profit per share. So if the profit this year was 110 and last year it was 100, it's 10%. That's it. That's what we're talking about. And then, of course, we're looking at that relative to other companies. High growth in profit relative to peers shows that customers want the company's products and that the company can produce those products profitably. But beware, high growth at a low level of profitability is often just a waste of money. So level 2 explains what is driving profitability. Remember, we said this was Amazon, so we're going to go back and say, why does Amazon have such a low level of profitable growth? We can see that, is it profitability or is it growth? Well, it's mainly profitability that's been suffering. It's a 9 or a 10, and then it jumped up to a 6. And we can see that growth actually has been a positive driver. Now, these numbers cannot just be added or averaged together because there's much more complexity into how we manage that data. So just the fact that it went from a 9 to a 6 or 1-1 is not enough to cause the profitable growth score to go up. All right, test. Ready? All right. Pandora, we looked at this company already. We said it was a world-class company. What is the company's strength? Well, we can see actually both. If we had to choose one, it's profitability because that's one, but growth is also pretty impressive. Pandora is an international Danish jewelry manufacturer and retail. It's listed on the NASDAQ of Copenhagen. All right, next one, Amazon. What's the company's strength? Well, we can see its growth. In fact, isn't that what they've been doing, is trying to grow at all costs, and they're letting their profitability go down. They don't worry about the profitability. They're trying to get bigger. Amazon.com is an American electronic commerce and cloud computing company based in Seattle, Washington, listed on the NASDAQ. All right, Advance. What is the company's strength? Come on, you got it. Yeah, right. It's profitability. Growth is actually very average over the last 4 periods, 2013, 2014, 2015, and the prior 12 months. So Advanced Info Services is Thailand's largest mobile phone operator, listed on the Stock Exchange of Thailand. All right, what is this company's strength? Yep, pretty much nothing. You're exactly right. It's an 8 and a 9, pretty disastrous. Wilmer International is Asia's leading agribusiness group, listed in Singapore. Okay, so what have we learned in this section? Profitable growth is strongest, fastest. Rank is driven from results of two different measures below. First, profitability. Strong profitability means generating more profit from assets. And earnings per share growth means the growth in the profit of the business. The market values it, and so should you. All right, let's talk about the bottom of the triangle. There's four things at the bottom we see: asset utilization, profit margin, sales growth, margin change. Let's get into it. The results at the top of the triangle are explained by the results below. Remember, the only measure that matters is the profitable growth at the top. The triangle is being expanded to try to explain. So, let's take a look at the first one, the first two measures that drive profitability, and that is asset utilization and profit margin. Asset utilization is the amount of revenue the company generates from the assets in place. We say sales divided by assets. Think of it this way. Two companies open up two factories. They both cost $100 million. One company is able to get revenue of $100 million, and the other company is able to get revenue of $200 million. So this company would be getting 2 to 1. This company is getting 1 to 1. This one, 2 to 1, is in much better shape. Getting more revenue from a company's assets relative to peers shows that management is better at generating output from their assets. Remember, we're not talking about profit. We're just talking about revenue. Careful asset growth that is matched with revenue growth preserves the company's capital. That's critical. Beware, too slow asset growth policy can hold back sales growth. Now, profit margin shows how good the company is at cost control. Profit divided by sales. So, if a company has revenue of 100, cost of 90, that means it has a profit of 10. If we were to divide 10 divided by 90, it's 10%. A strong profit margin shows products that the customer want can be profitably delivered. It's not enough to have revenue. It's most important to have profit. Profit margin shows how the company's cost control is, and it's a major measure of the strength of the management team. But beware, too tight cost control can constrict growth. Let's say you hold back on marketing expenses or salary expenses. You could hold back the growth of the company. So let's talk about the next one. The next two measures that drive EPS growth. There are two ways to increase the earnings per share or the earnings of a company. First is just to grow sales. Increase sales while keeping costs flat. The second one is margin increase, which is maintain sales but reduce costs. EPS growth comes only from these two items and some combination of them. So we want to understand the sales growth of this company relative to their global peers and the margin improvement or fall relative to their global peers. Sales growth proves that the customer wants the product. This is just annual sales, change in sales. Again, if the sales was 110 this year and last year was 100, that's 10%. Now the question is, how did other companies in their subset grow? Externally driven component of EPS is what this is. Sales growth is proof of concept, but sales growth is proof of concept. The point is, people want the product. Weak sales growth means poor customer demand for the company's products and services, maybe bad service, bad product. But beware, sales growth without profit ends painfully. Okay, let's look at improving the profit margin is one of the fastest routes to strong EPS growth. This is the annual change in the net profit margin. So think of it this way. Remember we said that a company could have sales of 100, costs of 90, therefore profit of 10. If we say 10 divided by 100, we can say that the profit margin is 10. Now imagine that the company next year had a profit margin of 11. That's a 10% improvement or a 1 percentage point improvement in the profit. So if a company improves its profit margin to 4 from 3, while margin of competitors does not change, then this is margin improvement relative to peers. This comes from the management team's focused effort. As margin improves, the company is getting more profit from every sale. But beware, too high prices or low costs could hurt sales growth. So level 2 and 3 explain what is driving. We can see what is driving this improvement in profitability to get it to a 6. Well, asset utilization has been very good at this company. And we see a slight improvement. This is Amazon, by the way. A slight improvement in profit margin as Amazon's starting to make some profit. And that's driving them. And if we look at sales and we look at margin change, that's what's driving the growth. And then, of course, the profitability and the growth combine into a profitable growth score of 5. So if all the employees of a company knew, or the management team knew, was that 5, they would be able to understand the scorecard. The second and third levels explain what's driving that growth. All right, ready for your test? Okay, here we go. Pandora, what drives this company's profitability? Tick-tock. Now, you're going to see at the bottom of the triangle, you're going to see what we didn't see in the prior ones because I blocked it, is benchmarked against 1,240 large consumer discretionary companies worldwide. So what is the company's profitability? What drives it? Well, profit margin. We can see that that's very high, and it's ranked at number 1 when compared against 1,240. That means that in each decile, there's 124 companies, and this company is one of the 124 top of those companies. And that is driving the profitable growth. All right, what is Amazon's number 1 weakness? Got it? Got it? All right. Profit margin, that's right. Although it's improving from a 9 to an 8, the profit margin is still low. That's below average. But the improvement in profit margin and the steadiness of the asset utilization has caused profitability to rise to a 6, just slightly below average. And that is driving up, whoops, pressed the wrong button. That's driving up the profitable growth score to a 5 from a 9. Okay, what is Advanced Info Services' number 1 strength? Again, this one is benchmarked against 140 large telecom companies worldwide. So how many companies would be in each decile? That's right, 14 in each decile. And what we can see is that profit margin is the company's strength. It's ranked in the top decile. What is Wilmar International's number 1 weakness? Ouch. Doesn't look good, huh? Sales growth and margin change are equally bad at 9. Pretty much everything looks bad for this company. All right, what do we learn? Results at the top of the triangle explained by the 2 items below. Profitable growth is explained by the company's rank against global peers on 6 different measures, 4 of them on the bottom of the triangle. Asset utilization is revenue generated from assets. Profit margin is a measure of cost control. Sales growth proves customers want the products. Profit margin change, the internal driver of EPS growth. Levels 2 and 3 explain the sources of profitable growth, but the scorecard is at the top of the triangle, the profitable growth. Now you see the gold of world-class benchmarking. By just looking at the triangles, you could tell me about the financial performance of the many different companies that we looked at. So, what have you learned? Profitable growth matters most. Everyone understands a 1 to 10 ranked scorecard. Like a scorecard in sports, the goal is clear to all team members and does not change mid-game. And even if somebody doesn't understand all the intricacies of how we get to that score, they understand the score. So this gets all employees aligned behind one financial goal, and that is to become, say it with me, financially world-class. So there you have it. We've been through the 5-part series. World-class benchmarking is simple, focused, and team building, and it helps you balance the competing pressures of profitability and growth. Its focus on profitable growth increases the value of your business. It is challenging. To be world-class, you must beat global peers. Finally, the world-class benchmarking triangle is easy to understand and apply. So there you have it. Now it's time to make your company financially world-class.